So this week we're going to look at series circuits. A series circuit is a circuit with one path for electron flow. It is chapter 6 in your textbook and your workbook pages. And in a series circuit, like we said, we have one path. So I'm going to build you a circuit here and I'll do a little lab with you as we go through this workbook pages. But what we have here first is, here is a DC power supply. So it plugs into the wall and it converts alternating current to direct current. It has an adjustable dial, which allows me to turn it anywhere from 0 volts up to 16 or 17 volts, depending on the supply. So I can kind of make this like a 9-volt battery, a AA battery, AAA battery. And then what I have here is some alligator clips, which serve as my conductors and wires. I have some sockets with some light bulbs in them. And if you look at your packet in chapter 6, these are 1.5 volt bulbs. And I have 3 of them. Typically we work in pairs of 3s when we're working on our labs and experiments. Okay. So we learned week 1 that electrons flow from negative to positive. And when you are using battery snaps and jumper cables and wires and everything else, black coated insulated wires tend to be on the negative side, or should be on the negative side. So this is negative coming out, so electrons are flowing through this wire, going through this light, back through this light, traveling down this conductor to this light, and then back positive, because for a complete path we have to have a source, a path, and load or loads, which we have. So I'm going to turn on my power supply. And it has a digital display and it tells me it's only at 1.2 volts. Well, since I have 3 1.2 volt bulbs hooked in series, they won't light until I get higher. Actually, they're 1.5 volt, excuse me. So I'm approaching 4 volts, so when I get to 4.5 volts, you can see all 3 bulbs are lit. It does appear that this one is a little brighter when you look at it on your screen, but it really isn't. It's just the angle which it's recorded. They're all the same brightness. But if I take this wire loose, what's going to happen? Path is broken, so all the bulbs go out. If this bulb goes bad, what happens? All the bulbs go out. So that's a major disadvantage of series circuits. I don't know how many of you have ever watched National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, but Christmas tree lights are a major user of series circuits. You know, you get a string of 100 to 200 lights and they're wired in series because it's cheaper. They can use less wire, less materials. But when one bulb goes out, they all go out, and then you have to switch every bulb to figure out which one is bad. I'm just going to put this back in. Okay. So there's our circuit with 3 1.5 volt bulbs. Okay. And the voltage at which the lamps started to be lit was at about 3 volts. Okay. Before that, anything less than 3, they didn't light at all. And then they are at about full brightness now, and that's just a judgment call on my part, but they look to be at full brightness, and they're at 4.5 volts. So then question 2 says, take out the 1.5 volt bulb, and they want us to put in a bigger one. Well, I don't have any 3 volt bulbs, but I have a 6 volt bulb. So I'm going to add in a 6 volt bulb here, and then observe what's going to happen. Notice how bright the 1.2 volt bulbs are, and the 6 volt bulb is barely lit. Okay, so now as I turn this up, I should be able to turn this up to about 6 volts. And this 6 volt bulb now has reached full brightness, and these are at the verge of becoming bad, or the filament breaking in there, because these are just incandescent little light bulbs. Okay, so this 6 volt bulb allows me to go to 6 volts. If I'd go much farther, these would be destroyed. And I'm not going to do that because I don't want to ruin the bulbs. And then it tells you on question 3, it says turn off the power supply. I remove the bulb closest to my power source, closest to my negative, turn it back on, and what do I observe? Nothing works because the circuit is not complete. Plug it back in, Turn it back on, and my bulbs all turn back on. And this is a series circuit.